Good morning, everyone, from all the people that have come from all directions. I feel like I'm inside of a phone booth. and and I bet you a lot of these kids don't know what a phone booth is. But well, oh, sorry, I didn't come to last night. Shea Michael Tutt, Dashijana. Kilachini, Dashije, Trachi, Dashije. Ado, Nashkalet, Esha, Tahalia. As that go Isanasha, Ashitish, Ashiyaho, Ado, Ade, Tsehot, Azel in the Azel in Shlon, Ado, Azel in the large buses out the Nenschle. So, 1978, you mentioned. I want to hand. How many people remember what I remember mine, and the reason why speakers for the commencement address. It was Peter McDonald, Barry, during the time when the issue popped up. And my fellow classmates, they're from around those areas, Oljeto, Chilchimbetro. A lot of them are well versed in Navajo. So Barry gave his splurge. When I was young, I used to come up here. Navajo people are beautiful people. I took a lot of photography. Of course, Mr. McDonald, he had the special code talking skill. So he had his other version of things really were. And he was always for the people that were misplaced, So those are the things that I remember from high school. And those are things I remember that continue through my life on how to not serve the people, but be with the people. Got here. Years old, 5 years old. The language that was spoken in my family was Adnek Echideyata Ilkinde. And so when I entered school, was Owenny start. It was in a Tecumseh hut along the river. Became interested in science. I don't know if you Richard Mike and Mr. Mike, and then good morning. And every morning we used to go down by the river, and the river had life, had living things, tadpoles, frogs, fish, etc., plants, all these things that grew along the river. And he taught us about the purpose of why they're there and what life was all about. That was my first exposure to science. And of course, first grade, second grade. My English language skill wasn't the best. So I think that's the first time I encountered challenge. I was a speaker in English. So I was, I guess call it segregated to to a group of people that were place where we were called dummies, retarded, all sorts of names. And it was difficult. And I think a lot of anger came from there. Why am I being treated this way? Why are they treating these my classmate this way? Around the second grade, they realized I wasn't a dummy. They put me back in the regular class. I made it a mission that nobody will call me dummy again. I excel far more than the other student. Navajo, non-Navajos. That drove me. My father moved around a lot, worked in, and went to school that I was only Navajo. Still excel. It was easy. It was easy for me. And then ended up at Monument Valley. Did well, graduated, went to the University of Arizona. I took was botany. It was I was on a pre-med track. And I remember this professor who became, his name was Dr. Miller. When you go on this journey, mentors that will they'll be proud of you. I remembered Dr. Miller. There was about 600 people in the classroom, and he goes, "How many of you are pre-med?" And all, I'm serious, all 600 people in the classroom raised their hand. And then somebody laughing over here. And then he says, only 2 of you will make it to medical school. And from that time, in my mind, I said, I am going to be one of those 2. I am going to be one of these 2. And, you know, you have to study hard, challenging, but you surrounded yourself with good friends, partners, and I went through the whole gamut of preparing for medical school. Studied for the MCATs, applied to multiple schools, and fortunately, my grades were good enough to get me into several medical school. So then it came down, which medical school should I choose? Or where should I go? And I went to a medical school in Boston, and the name of the medical school is Tufts University. And the reason why I went there is because it's like my last name. It's like my last name. So, got into medical school. I was the only native in the medical school. Surrounded by very smart people. I mean, these people, these kids were groomed from private school, Ivy League schools. This place. I'm coming from a reservation school from the University of Arizona. But you know what? I was there. Well, I was at their level. Even though I came from Shiprock in Monument Valley, you as Navajos can achieve if you set your mind. I finished medical school, ended up in Tucson as a residency. I love residency because it was fun. I learned so much taking care of sick patients. You know, they can be withdrawn, have GI bleeding, and you have control over their well-being. I always say a bag of tricks. It's a bag of tricks that you learn and you apply it to save lives. And everything's going well, you know? I was like a candle burning from both ends, and life was good. And then in 1990, around this time, this is in Phoenix, this time of the year, I woke up in a field with no shoes, no shirt, and I didn't know where I was. Along the way, I had forgotten how to take care of myself, respect myself, know my limits. You know, it started off, I can't sleep because you work 36 hours and then you're all juiced up from your adrenaline. And I was starting to use drugs. And that's how I end up in a field. And that's when I saw the light that I am human. I'm not special. I have faltered. And I went to my program director and I said, I need to do a rotation in alcohol drug rehab. He goes, oh yeah, we have a lot of rotation you can do. And I said, it's for me. And then he closed the door. He goes, you're doing the right thing. So they sent me away for 90 days and ended up in a place where it's like, what am I doing here? Why? How did I get here? Why am I here? There was drug addicts, motorcycle gang, murderers, CEOs for Intel, art, prostitutes. Those were my cohort, my fellow cohort. I was just like them. No better than any one of them. That brings you down to the ground level. You're more humble. So that was a life-changing moment for me. I forgot how to take care of myself, how to respect myself, and have reverence. And that's the teaching when you're Navajo. Those things that you learn. I got through it, ended up in Winslow. I practiced medicine there, and then I ended up in rheumatology down in Tucson. My boss liked me, and I stayed on as a faculty member at the University of Arizona. But then something drove me back to come here. I had a nice office with an assistant. My responsibility was teaching residents, fellows, people that are interested in medicine, kids. But this is where I belong. I'm from over the hill here. I've been here. In 1977, I became an EMT while I was in high school. So this is where I belong. But you face many hurdles through life. Nothing is guaranteed. And then I came back to Fort Defiance. I've been there 20 years. The next big challenge was the pandemic. It was overwhelming at times. Our doctors, our nurses, our respiratory therapists, our EVS workers, because it was scary. We didn't know what it was. We were wearing these suits like space suits, something that you wear to protect yourself. It was very difficult, but we weathered it. We weathered the storm, but we came out of that storm different. Our priorities are different. Spent more time you go through something like that. Navajo Nation, because we are a group of people that have the most percentage of vaccination. You know, the Navajo people have gone through a lot. Now we have the aftermath of the pandemic. People that have been affected by COVID will have seen medical problems, mental issues, behavioral issue, physical. Just pray for these people. Medicine is an art. People say that, and I really don't tell. I've been doing medicine for almost 30 years. When I remember, I was sitting with her, and she said, "I hear you're going to become an arthritis doctor." Yeah, a gizzy. Edot al ida. O ze geitnel. We gentle. Hol agon stel o da halni. Asada khali. Asada. Just one time. Just one time. IHS has fair practice. They monopolize healthcare. We just assume IHS is free. It is not free. We are blessed that we have health care here, both modern and traditional. I remember this gentleman back in 1983. I participated in a program, Navajo Medicine Man School, with Ed, if you remember. And always, there's wise teaching that I learned from him during the summer and the winter. So, I remember my uncle. Where is he? Oh, there he is. In 1967, he took me to a movie. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. I always remember that movie. I think he was. I vaguely remember there was a woman. That was probably his wife now. 1967. I hope I don't get him in trouble. But these are. I mean, my mom, my dad. There are people in your life that will influence you, but you have to remember that you're human. You have to remember that you're vulnerable. You know, from the outside. You have to choose the right friends. But you just keep moving forward. You know, my son, he's 17. He's graduating from Rehoboth at the end of the month. He wants to be a doctor. Even though it's like, do you really want to do that? Because I've gone through it. Become an engineer. No, he's set in being a physician. So I need to support his. So I'm here to support your journey. Whatever field you get into, make sure you pick a field that you're passionate about. Because I work with a lot of people They only work because it's a job. You know, there's a few that really are passionate about their job because it takes a lot from you. It takes a lot from you. My hair probably would have been black, but now it's all white because I worry too much. But if you're going to remember anything from the talk, is be good to yourself, respect yourself. That will help you and guide you because they've gone down this road. So I want to wish all of you full, happy. You know, you have mom and dads, you have kids, you have grandma and grandpas. Always spend time with them. Sure is. I congratulate the 21 the school. You are going down the right. The city is a big thing. Come through here. No way. Donna and Gerard. You ice yourself for 4 days. That was already built into our teaching, the way we dealt with health. Learn from our people that have gone through that path. Here 500 years ago. We will be here 500 years from now. Always remember that. We will be. We will be. I can't.